welcome and good evening from the Center for Spiritual Living in Granada Hills, California. We're here in the sanctuary. Nice to have you joining us online. And I imagine we'll have a straggler or two as we get into the evening. So welcome to our Let's Get Real and Heal meditation service. And we are, as I said, here in the Granada Hills areas. That's in the North San Fernando Valley. We are a faith community who welcomes all who practice their beliefs in faith and love. So delighted to have you. We have our service techs in the back. So we got Ian and Renzen joining us. And our presider for this evening is the wonderful Vinu Alag. And so we will begin, as we do every service here, by lighting the flames of faith. So let's just take a deep, conscious breath and release the day, all the activity of the day, the cares, concerns, just shaking the dust from our sandals. Let's take another deep breath. This one for the body, just to let the shoulders drop, to release, to allow ourselves to sink into this eternal now moment. And one more breath, a cleansing breath. Just sigh it out. As we know together that we perform this ceremony to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all peoples, all faiths, all sentient beings come from the one great universal presence, which we call spirit. Now, fundamental to this truth is the unifying nature of all religious thought and experience, which we honor here this evening. So as Vinu lights the first candle, it's for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light the second candle for shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples, way of primal spirituality. We light the third candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light the fourth candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light the fifth candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. We light the sixth candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. We light the seventh candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God as the highest calling. We light the eighth candle for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. The ninth candle we light for all forms of new thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. And the 10th candle we light for all those who are as yet unaware of the power and presence of spirit in their lives, and for the space we hold for them here in the sanctuary, within our online community, and of course within our own hearts. And as Vinu lights the healing candle, keeping in mind any places where there is conflict in the world, we have folks looking for work and looking for healing in other areas of their life. Or for yourself, please put silently into the light the names of anyone you wish to have experienced the healing flame of God's eternal love.
I'm thankful, so grateful. I'm surrender, I surrender. I'm one with the Spirit all around me. I surrender, I surrender. I trust in God.
As we gather here this evening in the one mind, one present, one universal consciousness that flows to and through each and every one of us, knowing that we are each one with this all that is, with this divinity, with this gorgeous, glittery God stuff that is love. I know that tonight unfolds perfectly with ease and grace, that each person hears what they need to hear, that everything that needs to be said is said, that we settle into our breath, into our body during the meditation, and get still. Get so still so we can hear that inner voice, so we can connect to that all that is. I'm so grateful tonight to be here, so grateful for our AV team, for Reverend Dr. Mike. And it is with this full and grateful heart I release my word to the law, knowing it is done, knowing it is all love. And together we affirm this by saying, and so it is. Good evening, everyone. So, yesterday I was driving home and going along my normal path, thinking nothing extraordinary was going to happen. And all of a sudden there was this long flatbed in front of me, truck, and it was spitting out gravel everywhere. So I thought, oh, okay, I got to avoid this, so I'm going to switch lanes and get out of its way. But I wasn't so lucky. All of a sudden this tiny little pebble hit the windshield. And I first thought, oh, thank God, it was just a tiny little pebble. But soon I noticed there was a crack. And as I was driving, the crack kept going, and it went halfway through the windshield. So now what to do? Nothing to do but to get home safely. And it was really interesting what came up for me during all this. You know, I didn't calmly think, oh, I'm so lucky that I'm safe and I got home safely. Oh, no. Some old stuff came up. Like, oh my goodness, how much is this going to cost me? How am I going to pay for this new windshield? Because sure enough, it needs to be replaced. And I recognized what was happening. It wasn't so surprising because it's some old belief systems I've been working through recently. And I recognized I couldn't shake it. I had the money to pay for it, so why was my body tensing up? Why was I not sitting in gratitude for getting home safely, knowing it could have been so much worse? No, I was just hung up on this one thing, the money stuff. And I just couldn't let it go. So I did a little meditating, and guess what? I couldn't let it go. My body, I could feel it in my body. I was actually on the phone with a girlfriend talking through it, and the words that were coming through my mouth were, oh, it's fine, no big deal, but your body doesn't lie. My body was telling me, you don't believe the words you're saying. So after we hung up, I realized I need some support. I'm not going to be able to do this on my own. I can either go through the evening feeling kind of miserably, beating myself up, or I can reach out. So I actually went and called a friend of mine who happens to be a practitioner. And I was really honest. I said, this is what just happened, and I feel like I'm teetering on the edge. I am not able to get myself rooted in the thing that I know that is true, which is I trust the source and substance of my supply with all my being. I know this. Then why am I stumbling? Anyway, we had a really nice conversation, and I felt so much better afterwards. I mean, I just felt my body relax, that weight of everything that felt like monkey mind lifted. And I realized, you know what? I was really proud of myself for acknowledging I needed some tools. I don't have to go through this by myself. You know, I think oftentimes we struggle with something and we're so used to doing it on our own. You know, we're so used to figuring it out. We're so used to having to bear it all, right? But what I've learned is that, you know, I have this whole box of spiritual tools, but they don't do me any good unless I reach in and use them. So then I started thinking about, like, where else in my life could I use some support, and why haven't I reached out? You know, how many of us here, you know, are part of this beautiful spiritual community and are struggling and haven't reached out to a practitioner or to a minister or to a friend, you know? I just thought, gosh, I'm really glad that that intuitive thing came up for me, that you are going to need support today. And it really, really helped. And then what I was able to do was pivot from panic into practical. I was able to say, okay, what's the next indicated step? What do I have to do to take care of this, to get this fixed, to get it back to whole? I was able to be in a calm space. I was able to think straight where I couldn't before because I was stuck. I was stuck in that old thinking. And it wasn't until I was able to verbalize, to share, to become vulnerable with another human, and to listen to what they had to say about it, that I was able to see more clearly. You know, author Brené Brown, she says, we don't have to do it all alone. We were never meant to. So I'd like to give us all this permission slip that we don't have to go through life doing the hard things alone. There is no badge of honor. I've always thought there was. I think part of these feelings that creep up for me is this old habit of perfectionism. Shame that comes up if I need help. Shame that it even happened, even though I was just driving along and a pebble hit my window, right? These are old thinking that no longer serves us. So we all have now a permission slip that when you need help, please reach out, connect, and share with someone else. Thank you. A few announcements this evening. Practitioners are always available for a 2-minute tune-up. You can also reach them on our website at CSLGH.org if you would like some prayer support. The World Healing Full Moon Meditation Ceremony, a Lucky Charm with Joanne O'Brien, this Monday, March 25th at 7 p.m. See our newsletter for the Spiritual Unity Movement website for Zoom link. We also have a singing bowl meditation with Katrina Boca this Friday, March 29th at 7 p.m. Easter egg hunt on Easter Sunday, March 31st after second service. Contact Reverend Nicole for more information. Bring those kiddos for the Easter egg hunt. Power Your Decisions, new class with Reverend Dr. Mike, beginning Tuesday, April 2nd at 6:30 p.m. Contact Melissa for registration. And last but not least, children's beginning drums and beginning guitar, theater, and Tai Chi meditation are ongoing and open. If you would like to sponsor a child, please contact Reverend Nicole or Melissa. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Binu. And welcome, Rosalie. And welcome many of you who've joined us since our introduction here. So, yeah, you were taking me back, the old rock in the windshield. And I'm thinking, oh, did you get the license plate? Because from my old contracting days, that's a huge no-no, and the driver's actually liable for loose gravel. So let that be a lesson. But you don't think of it in real time, right? And so yeah, I know that frustration. And there's a new Safe Light repair right around the corner from my house. So I'll tell you all about it afterwards. So it's the spring equinox. So we had a nice service on Sunday. I learned a lot of stuff about St. Patrick's Day. We were talking about this before, earlier this evening. For instance, I had never heard that St. Patrick's Day was halfway between Lent and Easter. But I still would have to count the days on that. I don't know if that's quite true or not. I think it might be something the Irish made up so they could take a drink in the middle of Lent for St. Patrick's Day. But it was a fun day. And it is tied to the equinox. And so where my dad is from, in Leitrim, one of the locals there found a rock formation that puts a slice of light on the face of this one stone on the equinox. And he insists that it is, something from the, Neolithics or the megalithics or whichever lithics, ancient Irish. Yeah, I don't know, but it's the fact that he stumbled upon this is pretty amazing. And so it's hard for me to think about the equinox now without knowing that, Frank White is up on Mount Thur checking out the formation. And locally in the garden, so Stephanie is one of her hobbies is natural California native plants. And so we have several native plants that are actually kind of overgrown now with the rain this year. But all that stuff is starting to bud. And we have a couple of fruit trees that are not natives, but they're starting. They'd already budded, and so now they're starting to, one at a time, the blossoms are coming out. And it was a little warmer, right, already, and this days with the time change being part of it, I know, but the days are getting longer, and up in the local hills here in O'Melveny, spring is springing. So we're moving out of this time officially now, where maybe we've had, things that have been gestating, from the vernal equinox through winter, and now moving into spring that are now ready, new ideas, new opportunities perhaps, some creative impulse of some kind, either through the arts or maybe in career, that we may be feeling our oats a bit and now ready to step into something new. And so I thought tonight we would use the energy, which I didn't know this either because it's leap year. The equinox was actually on Tuesday, on the 19th. So who says you can't teach an old dog new tricks? So there you go. It's so we're now well into spring, and I found this poem. The writer's named Emily Verse. She has a website. I forget the name of it, but you can Google her. And she writes this: when day and night in balance stand, and spring's breath sweeps across the land, the sun ascends with golden light, ending winter's longest night. Along the lake where mist does rise, underneath the awakening skies, wildflowers bloom in hue so bright, a canvas born from the dark of night. Birds herald in the dawn with song, where silence reigned all winter long. The forest whispers soft and low of the life that stirs below. In this moment, time seems to pause, Nature abides by unseen laws. The equinox with gentle grace welcomes spring to take its place. So I don't usually pick poems that rhyme, but that's nicely done, yeah? So let's just take a deep breath. Breathing in the breath of spring. As we know that by definition, there is no spot where God is not. So whatever and however we know that to be, God being a placeholder word for that experience of that which is ineffable, that is both eminent and transcendent. And so it is in the very breath, the very air we breathe. We are breathing it as it is breathing us. And so we allow ourselves to consider this notion that we are resting in this field of the divine, as I'm waving my hands around like you would wave in the water, right? So we're just making these ripples within the field of mind, and that we are an emanation of that. So Alan Watts once wrote that from the traditional biblical perspective, that the Creator created the earth and then man was placed into nature. But what we now know is that we are of nature, that we are an expression of it. And so as we consider the possibility, possibly the surety, that all of life, all matter, has a smidge of God consciousness in it, consider the notion that the universe is conscious. In some crazy, cosmic, metaphysical way. And if playing with this idea has a sense of truth in it, then how does that affect our understanding of how the divine works for us? Works for us by working through us, even working as us. And as we consider this notion of the spring equinox, this time of growth, and for those observing some Lenten practice of either releasing or embracing, any insights or wisdom drawn from this practice as we are now just less than 2 weeks away from the end of that cycle. So as as the breath itself cycles, there is an alignment with this idea that the earth, moving in its own cycle around the sun, the sun in its galactic rotation, we consider the ways in which in this equinox time and within this circulation of life, of birth, death, and rebirth, and our oneness with all of life. So let's just take a deep breath together and release. Bringing our attention to the movement of the breath in the nostril. Scanning the body. Breathing into those areas where tension may reside. We find a tense place. Take a deep breath and release. You can actually feel that tension unwind with the exhale. Following the breath. Tummy rises and falls naturally, easily. Bringing our attention to the sit bones. The spine erect but free of tension, straight, balanced over the sit bones. The head balanced over the spine. Let's take a deep breath, and on the exhale, just allow the shoulders to drop a wee bit more. Taking a deep breath and release. attention now to the exhale. With each exhale, we anchor a little deeper into the moment. Allowing the facial muscles to drop. May feel a sense of tingling between the eyebrows, third eye, or the crown, the head. Taking a deep breath. Let that go for our final release as we move into the silence now for about 15 minutes or so. bringing our attention gently back into the room, staying with the breath. And bringing our attention to our heart center. Where we see the light of the divine, the flame of the Most High within the heart center, and fanning that flame now with the breath. Fanning it with our awareness. That flame that intellectually we may know is always there. But now bringing our awareness with each breath, fanning that flame, allowing it to grow in intensity, in size, in radiance, in beauty, like an equinox sun within. Staying with the breath, feeling this light expanding now, knowing that this light is the light of the Most High. It is love itself. That is both breathing us and we are breathing it. Expanding, growing in the same way that the ebb and flow of inflating a balloon. This light continues to grow beyond the body torso, side to side, front to back, top to bottom, that we're now sitting in this field of light and love, a divine light and love. May even feel a sense or have a sense of the tingling sensation as the light dances around us, in us, through us. Expanding even more now, filling the very room in which we find ourselves this evening. Extending now, knowing that the light of the divine is not bound by space, knowing that this light is now joining others in this moment, in this meditation moment, and even in the moments to come, that the Spirit is not bound by time nor space. So there is this communion in the oneness of the moment. So from this place of conscious union with the one, with each other, knowing that even with each other, there is only one, we bring our cares, concerns of the day, taking a deep breath and releasing those into this field of light and love. Just feel a sense of cleansing, releasing. Now with each in-breath, we know that we are aligning with a pattern of perfection within, that the very energetic of the light within is commingling at the smallest aspects of the biological body, so that every atom, every molecule, every cell, every organ, every muscle, every bone, every sinew, all the various systems of the body now aligning with this pattern of perfection, that there is a resonance, a tuning with the vibration of right and perfect health. Knowing this for ourselves, we're knowing it for any others whom we may know who could use a little tune-up. We're knowing this truth for them as well. But certainly for ourselves, we feel a sense of an alignment, of attunement to the vibration of life itself. That we feel a sense of strength and vitality, flexibility, even in this moment. As we take a deep breath and releasing anything unlike this idea of perfect health, knowing that all that remains is this tuned up light body of perfect health. So from this place then we turn our attention to the top of our heads and feeling a sense of opening, that we are open and receptive to new dynamic ideas, open to the creative impulse of life itself, for any seeming situation, challenge, or seeming problem that we may be facing, that we know that the solution is already in place, that we are receiving now and capturing a divine download for new ideas and the power to allow them to come forward. And so we capture them now at the deepest aspects of our being, deeply subjectified, for a later release to be fully recognized, whether later this evening within the dream state, as we sleep tonight, or sometime during the week, that we know that this idea, the creative impulse of life itself is now impressing these new ideas. We take a deep breath, releasing that. So now finally for the heart, we feel a sense of opening in this moment. Allow our shoulders to fall back. Maybe lift the chin a little bit. Raise the palms upward as we feel a sense of openness in the chest cavity and a sense of openness within the heart. That we are attuned with others in this meditation moment, attuned with the one spirit expressing as love. And so we bring into this field of open-heartedness anyone whom we feel we may have been in discord in any way. Taking a deep breath, releasing all that, for we understand now in this moment they too are realizing their own understanding of the divine in their own time and in their own way. That we now bring our loved ones into this field of light and love. For myself, remembering Nathan and Bill and Luce and Chloe and Rosalie and Marty, Reverend Nikki, anyone who is working to make welcome a sense of increase, whether it's in the ways of love, of perfect employment, of right and perfect health. And we just take a deep breath, releasing this as we know together that there is but one power, one presence, one source, one life, one living intelligence, the creative impulse of life itself that is both impressing and expressing itself in, through, and as all of life, in, through, and as our life, in, through, and as the life of all beings. And so in this oneness with the Spirit, we are knowing for all of the concerns of the world, concerns of ourselves, and those aspirations of the planet that we are calling into an alignment with a sense of peace, of harmony, of serenity, of respect, of abundance, of enoughness. That we just take a moment to feel a sense of compassion and empathy for the suffering of others, even as we realize in gratitude the many blessings of our own life. So from this place of gratitude, then we take one more breath, releasing all thoughts, words, cares, concerns, inspirations, aspirations. We're releasing all of it now to that aspect of the mind of the divine itself that knows only to say yes as the law of its own being. So we just simply release it all now. Let it go. Let it be so. And together we acknowledge this by saying, and so it is. Amen. So thank you for joining us tonight, and particularly those of you joining us online who continue in your committed giving to support this evening, and for all the ways that you continue to support our center. Might want to give a shout out to Lissa, who's holding down the line as the mistress of all things online around here these days. And speaking of which, this Sunday we'll have Jason Goldstein will be back with us for the musical inspiration. And I'm on deck talking about something. Not now, when, or something. It's an odd title, so we'll see what I do with that. And maybe give some love to Vinu in the chat as well for a job well done. Until then, know that you're loved. Peace and blessings. And we'll see you next time.